On the background of this video, you see a prohibition sign. It reads, "No dumping, $500 fine. City Ordinance 66286. There are 3 sixes in there. That's pagan, but okay. The world is run by pagan rulers. But okay, apart from that, you see that the prohibition sign is ignored. Because you see trash everywhere. Just look at it. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about dumping. When you dump something, you just throw it somewhere to get rid of it. For example, if you have a luggage and you dump it on the bed in the hostel, you just throw it on the bed because you know it will land well. You don't just put it there, just dump it. Now, there are times dumping is legitimate. Okay, for example, if you are carrying trash and you dump it in a container, like for example, furniture that's broken, you carry it, it's heavy, and when you arrive at the container, you dump it in a container. So there are times dumping is legitimate. But I'm not talking about that much physical dumping in this video. I'm talking about energetic dumping. That is the main activity of fallen mankind. It comes to the following. Common people, they want ease. They want things to work out. They don't want to endure nor encounter anything uncomfortable. So together they form a pact that everyone wants the comfort. But what do you do with the discomfort? You dump it somewhere. Just like people do with physical trash. They dump it somewhere, the same thing they do with energetic trash. They dump it. Where do they dump it? They dump it on other people. So collectively they agree on whom they can dump their waste. And that's how it goes. So how do you secure a dumping site? You condition people into believing that others have the right to use them as a dump site unless they comply with the relief seeking of the collective. That's what society is. The main incentive for people to comply with society, and this incentive is also a deterrent of not complying with society, is the promise of becoming someone. It's the promise of being significant. It's the promise that you matter. Because once you matter, people have to consider you. If they don't consider you, they can ignore you, and that may have dangerous consequences on you. For example, if they ignore you, they not look after you, and well, as a human being, you need social interaction. You also need a stable environment in which you can operate. So folks don't want to be ignored. They don't want to be nobodies. They want to be somebodies. Because being a somebody implies that people are obliged to pay you some attention and to consider you. Nobody wants to end up in a condition where they're not considered, when they have to put up and deal with whatever behavior others have. So the incentive in compliant society is the avoidance of becoming a dump site for negative energy. And because you avoid becoming a dump site, you have relief. You're part of the collective. You are acknowledged. That is what society is. And you can't really make more of it. Now you have communities. There's a difference between a community and a society. You have communities that do good things. That happens. But society is a fear construct, as I explained often before on this channel. The main incentive, I'm going to repeat, the main incentive for compliant society is to avoid becoming a dump site. And how do you avoid becoming a dump site? By complying with the dumping on the targets. That's how it goes. But people at the same time don't want to be held accountable for agreeing with this pact. They don't want to admit that they themselves generate waste energy and that they are dumping it on targets, or they comply with dumping on targets. They don't want that. They don't want to be held accountable for that because they don't want to face that. So they need to have an ideology that justifies their dumping. This ideology, called respect, is the main thing that's used as an excuse to dump negative energy on people. Parents use this often. Not all parents, but often parents use this. To relieve themselves of negative energy, they dump it on their kids. And the kids often use it also to dump their waste on other kids. In the workplace, this happens. I mean, in society, this happens. Internationally, this happens. That's how all of mankind operates. And when you have respect, you have the validation, acknowledgement that people won't dump waste on you. That's the security people expect from this thing called respect. But this security is false. The Old Testament speaks of honor. Honor means you give weight to someone. Someone becomes important and allow them to have influence. That's honor. Respect is when you have a claim or an expectation and you trigger the other, often through fear, to comply with their expectation. And if you don't comply, you have the right to harm them and to be relieved from being held accountable for harming them. That's what respect is. There's nothing holy, there's nothing good, nor anything productive about respect, besides the productive side that people comply out of avoidance. I'm saying it as it is. What I'm doing now in raw data, well, not really data, but rawly explaining onto you the behavior of common people, you won't find this in many churches. Besides that many churches are occupied by common people who claim they're born again, churches will not talk about this because to do this would also undo their own institutions. Because churches teach you that if you don't live right according to their standards, people have the right to dump waste on you. That's what church is teaching you. They just don't teach you it in plain language like I do. And churches enable much dumping behavior. Now, apart from this, if someone is to blame, someone is to blame. Period. If society is to blame, society isn't. Of course society is to blame. But who are society? Who enact society? The common people. So the common people are to blame. So you ought to hold them accountable. There's nothing wrong with that. It's something different than to only look at what society does and not look at your own contribution. If you have no contribution and you're harmed, then realize you need safety. You need to go for safety. That's your responsibility. Acknowledge you need safety and go for it. Besides that, you have no other responsibility. You can't have any other responsibility than that. But a lot of folks, they don't want to look at the bigger picture. They don't even want to look at their own contribution. So it's easy to have an external party to blame. Then they can project all their waste on those people instead of seeking deliverance. And how is this dumping mechanism by society maintained? Through gaslighting. You have a group of people whom you target, and it's obvious to them they are targeted, but you deny that you're targeting them. And even if it becomes too obvious they are the target, you deflect it. You blame them for it. That's the gaslighting. Through gaslighting, through collective gaslighting, this mechanism of society is kept intact, because without this dumping mechanism, there is no society. There's some collective relief for the relief seekers. One example of this is when it comes to alcoholism. Now, I don't excuse people being an alcoholic. Absolutely not. Because being an alcoholic is self-destructive, and your human potential should be spent in far better ways than wasting yourself away with alcohol. And don't forget, as a human being, you have an impact on your community. It's also going to be destructive to the community. So I don't give excuses for people being alcoholic. Absolutely not. But alcoholism does not occur in a vacuum. First of all, there must be alcohol for people to consume. Who provides it? There's nothing wrong with alcoholic drinks, but there is something wrong having a bad relationship with alcohol. Now, when you look at alcoholism carefully, Alcohol is expensive in general. It's not cheap. So the only way someone can be an alcoholic is if they have currency to purchase the alcohol, or if the alcohol is provided at a cheap price onto them. And alcohol is not something you should drink all the time. Often only at parties, even though even then you need to be careful what you drink. Or a party can also be a wedding. So alcohol is not something you should consume all the time. People know that. But folks tend to get relieved when they drink alcohol, and they become attached to this relief, and without them being aware of it, they become dependent on alcohol. That happens. Now, the process of someone becoming dependent, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. People notice it. People should call them out on it. And you also have the community itself. If you have a lot of folks who become dependent on alcohol, one thing you as a community can do is you make alcohol much more expensive, so they can't purchase much of it, or you ban alcohol if it's necessary. That's how you keep your community safe. To say things like, well, if you can't handle alcohol, it's your own problem, don't bother me with it. It doesn't work that way. As a community, you operate together as a community. So everyone is accountable for their contribution. And there are people who are weaker in some aspects than others. That ought to be considered also. And if something leads to darkness in the community, as a community, you should take action to preserve the community. Even if the individual is self-destructive, the self-destructive individual is still part of the community, and they act out the self-destruction in the community. So the community either disable it or they enable it. So as a community, you are responsible and accountable. There is no other way. And when you look at regions where there's a lot of alcoholism, it's regions where many of such liquor stores are installed. Why does the community tolerate so many liquor stores if they know that alcoholism is an issue there? Why don't they ban them? It is because alcoholism serves a purpose, serves a dumping purpose for society. If someone is addicted to alcohol and they need alcohol, the alcohol keeps them at ease, because they have emotional tension that they carry, and alcohol is like a soothing medicine. Not really a medicine, but it's a soothing drug for them. And because they have this soothing drug, they're often at the pub or at the cafe or not at the bar. That means they're nowhere else. So if their emotional tensions leak out and escalate, it will happen at the bar. So the community benefits from having the landmines located in one area. And because the alcoholics tend to be functional the rest of the time, people don't really bother with it that much. It's only when it's too far out of line that people say no to it, say no to the dysfunction. And then it's often only no to the manifestation of dysfunction. Alcoholism, just like prostitution, is as an institution that society enables, so that society has relief from certain people. Society won't have to examine itself. Truth being told, if people want to deal with alcoholism in an area, just increase the price of alcohol, or you lower the amount of alcohol in drinks, because people can't drink too much because their stomach has a limited capacity, or you ban it, so people can't purchase it unless there is a wedding or something like that. I mean, if the community really wants to deal with alcoholism, they could deal with it. They don't want to. Because when you have alcoholics around, the others can feel relieved about themselves that they are not alcoholic. They can be in oppressive economic circumstances. They can be exploited by their 9-to-5 job. But at least they're not an alcoholic. At least they are approved by society. At least they get this sense that they are somebody. And the sense of somebody depends on others being nobodies, or others being low bodies, as I call it. So, alcoholism, in this sense, is as an institution, the society keeps going as a legitimate place to dump negative energy. That's how it is with more things in society. It's all a form of dumping. You have obvious forms of dumping when someone becomes rude to you for no reason and is looking for a fight. But you also have covert dumping. That's dumping that you don't realize quickly. That's dumping. For someone, you're gaslighted, either by a narcissistic spouse or by society itself, because society can gaslight you. And that happens. It happens quite often. Mainstream media can gaslight you. True. But here's the thing. Gaslighting isn't just something that predators do. Common people in general submit themselves to gaslighting mechanisms to get what they want, which is relief. One more example I'm going to give you. This is a parable, okay? So I made up this fictive situation. Let's say you're at the beach. Okay, it's your family, there are other people at the beach. And you have this guy. He's walking around naked. He only has a hat on his head. He's muscled and he walks around naked, quite proud. And around him, you see little kids of around 2 years old, all around him. When you see this, or when the people see this, they become upset. Some people will lose it because they think, what the heck is this? Why do you have a grown man in his 40s walking around naked publicly and there are little kids all around him? Some people are going to lose it. That guy may even become the target of physical violence. Because folk would say, this is disturbing. But let's say now that you don't have an actual literal guy walking around there naked with small children around him. But let's say there's a statue there, a Greek statue. Let's say a statue of so-called Greek art. And this Roman god Neptune, which is called Poseidon in Greek. And this Roman god has, or Greek god, how do you call this? Greek god has small statues around him of little kids, which represent Bakru demons. But to the public eye, there's just small kids they see as statues. And you have this Roman, honestly, the Greek god over there that's portrayed naked as an older man. That's imagery of pedophilia right over there. Yet, they have such statues, such so-called art in public places where thousands and then 10,000 people come and go, and people are not upset by it. They see it, but it's as if they don't see it. This is a form of gaslighting also. The pagan rulers, who are often involved in things like pedophilia and pedophile rings, they display their filth to you in your face, in public. They do it so often. And why is this gaslighting? Because you encounter it daily, and you've become used to it. So now, anytime a scandal comes out of some pedophile ring, when people become upset with it, people unconsciously can't really go off at it completely, because the pagan rulers can tell them, but hold on a minute, you are so upset with this pedophile case, but you don't know it's us, we put this pedophilia imagery everywhere, and you just don't care about it. So why didn't you care about it? Why didn't you destroy it? Why didn't you file a petition against it? Yes, gaslighting. It's gaslighting on the part of the pagan rulers, but it's also gaslighting on the part of the common people. Let me explain why. The moment they see that imagery of pedophilia, they should become upset collectively. They don't. They don't care. They just want to be left alone. So they don't care that pedophilia is visualized in a public place as long as it doesn't affect them. They're selfish and narcissistic in their attitude. So that shows that they're willing to get along with evil as long as they are relieved. So they are showing who they are. But at the same time, those same common people who will tolerate image of pedophilia in the public sphere, they're the same type of people that if you don't act in a way that relieves them, that you don't give in to their expectations, they can become upset with you. And once they're upset with you, they don't like you and need you to stay away, or else something's going to happen and it's your fault. they'll dump the rage on you. But what about them tolerating imagery of pedophilia? When you point that out to them, they're going to become upset with you, they're going to deny it, and they're only going to focus on their frustration on you, and so-called your fault they choose to be frustrated towards you. Because they don't want to examine themselves. So that's dumping behavior also. Well, this video has been over 20 minutes. I don't want to make it too long. Just understand that this world runs on narcissistic supply. It's just as a car runs on gasoline. Without narcissistic supply, or better narcissistic relief, this world cannot continue. So to be a friend of the world means that you are one with this collective narcissistic supply. That's the world's money. Look, I'm not advocating you to go in public and destroy public property of the government. If they have Greek statues and all of that, you can just walk by it and ignore it, or you can say something about it. I don't advocate you to go out and destroy public property and you end up being arrested and you end up in jail. I'm not telling you to do that. Absolutely not. What I just pointed out in this video is that it's quite weird and quite disturbing that collectively, I'm not talking individually, collectively, people put up with things they shouldn't put up with. There was this video on YouTube, maybe still there. It was an experiment. You had a kid, small kid, also was part of the experiment, and you had this older man that pretended to hit the child, and the child also acted by pretending to cry and all of that. The child knew it was an act. I know what they promised the child, that they were scared or anything like that, but it was a social experiment. And in public, nobody stopped and addressed the guy, saying, dude, you're a grown man with a grown body and you're hitting a small kid. What's wrong with you? None of them challenged the man. A police officer came and told them, sir, I understand this is discipline, but this is the public space, not here. So hold on a minute. The officer didn't even address the fact that you had a grown man releasing his energetic waste on a kid who couldn't run away, couldn't really defend itself. Now the child could run away, but people would often bring back the child to the parent, so-called parent. So the child who couldn't escape, who had no other choice, he vent his frustration on the kid, which is cowardice. And instead of the community dealing with the guy, stopping it, and holding him to account, they told him not here. So if you harm a kid emotionally or mentally, because that's what this is, if you do it at home, that they're not affected by it, then it's okay. What? So hold on a minute. So if that kid that he was hitting was a little girl, his daughter, or let's say it was a boy, then use a male example, if it was a small boy, people wouldn't bother much with it. But let's say he did the same thing to his wife, a female in her age in which she is or can be sexually active. Now people say, no, you shouldn't hit a woman. That's coward as well. You're not a man if you hit a woman. Oh, but you are a man when you hit a child? Oh, so the sex of someone determines whether it's okay to victimize them or not. So there's sexism over here also. Look, I'm not here to start a fight with this video. I'm just pointing out to you that society runs on narcissistic supply, and it's time for believers to acknowledge this. Because once you see this and you acknowledge this, you will understand clearly why the Most High does not want us to be conformed to the pattern of this world. Because the pattern of this world is a pattern of violence. And you can't be in line with violence and not invite evil spirits to you. Because to be in line with violence means that you enable evil spirits, so they will be drawn to you. And you shouldn't be in line with violence to begin with. It's not natural. Well, as I do in all videos, I tell you to agree with Christ. Really agree with them. Again, I'm not provoking you to go out and destroy public property and get yourself in trouble. I'm just telling you, pay attention. Be at peace.